Hi people, it's Archivist here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Infinite Warfare. Now that the Modern Warfare beta is over and I have to wait an entire month until I get my hands on the actual game, I have to find something to do. Was I going to take up a new hobby, do some physical exercise, go out and socialise? God no, I wanted to find another COD game to play. So I looked backwards to previous COD titles because I wanted a player base that was still active, so I needed to choose something relatively new. So Black Ops 4, that is the most current Call of Duty game as of now. But I have a little bit of a gripe with Black Ops 4 because they added this Stingray gun into the game via the reserve supply drop system with an operator mod that can kill most players in less than a second in a game with a higher time to kill. I considered it totally overpowered, and whenever someone comes into a game with it, they just would do so disproportionately well that I can't enjoy it from a competitive level anymore. A real shame. So Black Ops 4 off the table. Call of Duty World War II. As much as I respect the game as a whole, I have to be honest, I never really enjoyed the multiplayer. It felt like it had absolutely no hook to me. That's the simple way I'd say it. I know a lot of people like it. It's a game that has aged well, apparently, but to me, personally, I'm just not really resonating with it that well. But then Infinite Warfare. Now this is an interesting one because you know what? I never really played the online. Funny story, I didn't play it at all when the game came out because I preferred Titanfall, and Titanfall, or I should say Titanfall 2, was essentially the same setting, but in my opinion it did absolutely everything better than Infinite Warfare. It also has advanced movement, but it did it properly. It has mechs as well, which I really enjoyed. I thought it was just overall a better game, so I really paid no attention to Infinite Warfare for about 8 months. And then I went back to Infinite Warfare just to think, well, I've bought this game, I might as well actually play it, right? So I played the campaign and gave it a massive thumbs up. The campaign in Infinite Warfare is so underrated. I think more and more people are saying this, and I think I should continue to say it as well. Infinite Warfare campaign is spectacular, and it shouldn't be surprising. I mean, it's actually being written by the same people who are writing, well, some of the same people I should say, as the upcoming game for Modern Warfare, which is why I'm really excited about that, because I know it's in good hands. But I played one game of the multiplayer, one game, and I remember spawning onto this map, and I was instantly killed by a giant robot kill streak. I thought, no, you know what? Can't be bothered. I'm going back to Titanfall. Can't be bothered with this this year. So I didn't really play it. So I thought, why don't I try and play the Call of Duty game? The one Call of Duty game online since COD 4 that I never really played. That I never really gave a chance. And so, admittedly, as I make this video, I'm still very early in my career on Infinite Warfare. You'll see at the end of this game at least, I'm rank 7. I'm an absolute noob compared to the people I'm playing against, and I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. It was definitely a Call of Duty game. It's also the last in the series of the advanced movement games, so you can jump and then do a sort of double jump, jetpack maneuver, and run along walls. I find that in gameplay this is most useful for taking shortcuts, but I wouldn't say it's transformative to the way that combat works. Yes, it's much easier to fly through the air and take people out, but I didn't feel that just because someone was flying through the air, me on the ground is at a disadvantage because they're simply not moving fast enough. One criticism that I found with the guns that I've used so far, admittedly a small selection, is that in stark contrast to the loud and powerful guns of Modern Warfare, these guns feel very sort of spud gun-like. They feel like they're firing pellets. They don't feel particularly loud. And I suppose if you fit this into the setting, it would make sense that guns in the future, I suppose, are less erratic and have more control and less volume because that's a more efficient weapon. But just in terms of that visceral impact, I have to admit the guns don't feel quite as satisfying. Especially, as you'll see in this video, I'm using a triple burst energy weapon, and as much as I like triple burst, the energy aspect of it, not quite as satisfying to shoot. I find that though in any sci-fi game, when there's an energy weapon, although it's cool that they're there, I rarely find them as satisfying to fire as your traditional ammunition based weapon. In terms of the graphics, I really like this. I'm playing this on Xbox One X. I have to be real here. I've really been getting into my Xbox One X lately. I went back and for the campaigns, I've bought a bunch of the old Call of Duty titles, even the ones I didn't really like. Yesterday, I played both Ghosts and Modern Warfare 3's campaign in like one giant marathon. And I continued it here with Infinite Warfare, and I've been playing the multiplayer, and visually it's a really sharp, clean looking game. Frame rate 100% solid. I couldn't tell you the exact resolution, but to my eyes on my 4K monitor, looks very sharp. And just the overall aesthetic, again, it's very clean. It's not too chaotic. It's not trying to do that whole destroyed beauty thing of the most recent Modern Warfare. It's the old engine, the aging engine, if you will, which means it doesn't strike you as doing anything, I don't know, particularly bold. But some of the maps I've seen so far, they do look pretty nice. They look enjoyable. And again, for me, this is a really interesting scenario because I only played that one game way back in the day and didn't really give it a chance, to be honest, of Infinite Warfare. I never saw these maps. So these maps are brand new to me. It is a bit like playing a brand new Call of Duty title because I just, again, didn't really play it. So I'm enjoying that as well. The kill streaks, well, the score streaks as they still are here, feel pretty by the numbers. I'm using standard UAV. I'm very much of the opinion that I should never get rid of my UAV. UAV is everything to me. I like to know where my enemies are. And there's a standard strafing, bomb, kill streak. Again, it's the standard airstrike, and then there's a sort of chopper gunner, but rather than a chopper, it's some kind of futuristic hovercraft, which is in fitting with the setting, which is quite nice. Also, what I really liked was that I played on one map that seemed to be a recreation of the Modern Warfare 2 map Terminal, but it was done in the futuristic setting, which was really smart because, yeah, it's a nice map to look at, but the overall layout is exactly the same as Modern Warfare 2, and Terminal is one of the best maps in COD history, in my opinion, and I think even the developers know it themselves because they have brought it back a few times in a few different forms. So seeing some of these older maps recreated with the Infinite Warfare aesthetic, it's pretty decent as well. In terms of balance, again, look, I can't make a judgment on the game as a whole just yet because I've been playing it so briefly. I've been playing this game that's been out for many years now, almost I think 3 years because it came out in 2016. But I've been playing it less than the Modern Warfare beta. But I will say in terms of balance, there was one thing that made me raise an eyebrow, and you'll see it in this gameplay. It wasn't until I captured this gameplay right before recording that I noticed it, but there was this weapon, and I've just quickly Googled it, called the Venom X, and it seems to fire out these green goo explosions, and I did find that was a little bit cheap. Like, this guy was just going around corners and taking out a whole bunch of us with very little effort and skill, just firing blindly. There's a reason that in other games, if you're going to have something like a grenade launcher, like a rapid fire grenade launcher and not just something under barrel, there's a reason it fits to like a specialist item because it is it's extremely powerful at close range. So that made me raise an eyebrow. If anyone has any general feelings on the balance of the game who has played this a lot more than me, let me know how you feel about it. But this made me feel a bit strange, but otherwise, like, again, I am playing as a level 7 player in a lobby full of much higher ranked people, and I didn't feel at a disadvantage. And not to flex too hard, but despite that disadvantage, I actually came top of the winning team in this gameplay. So clearly, being a low rank in Infinite Warfare and having access to only the bare bone equipment and weapons can't put you at a disadvantage, because otherwise I would have presumably been at the very bottom. So I don't know if there's been some pay to win controversies around this COD, but clearly it's not all encompassing, because otherwise I would have been absolutely destroyed in this game. I had a few moments, especially with that Venom X, where I went on a little bit of a death streak there, but in terms of just the gun I was holding, I felt as if I could do some decent damage with it against other players. So I feel like I could genuinely continue to play Infinite Warfare until Modern Warfare comes out in October 25th, I think, because I don't know if this was the new COD. I don't know if I'd be super positive about it, because it is lacking some things that I really enjoy about this series. Again, the guns don't feel like they've got that oomph, and that's quite important in a COD game for me. And the kill streaks, I'm a little bit kind of on the kill streaks. They're okay. They're pretty standard, just with a different visual design. The maps as well, as much as I like them, I haven't found one yet that feels very distinct. They feel like they are sort of subscribing to the free lane philosophy to play it safe, but admittedly I think it's better than what I find in Call of Duty World War II, where the maps feel super samey. So if you're someone like me and you skipped Infinite Warfare, maybe it was the controversy, maybe you were playing COD 4 Remastered at the time, maybe like me, you're playing Titanfall 2 instead, I'd say give this a go because it's actually pretty fun. Like, it is a solid title in my opinion, worth a little bit of a second chance if, like me, you didn't play it when it came out. So as always, people, thanks very much for watching and see you next time.